You should do the intro in the leprechaun accent.
Oh, hi, little Blarney, Faith, and Begorra. Welcome to Side 1, Side B with Dave and Steve.
I'd have to... And cut. Since I'm the Scottish one, I'd have to be groundskeeper Willie.
Yeah. It's not offensive because I'm like, I don't know, 25% Irish.
Yes, exactly.
I'm 25% English, so I've committed atrocities against your family.
That's okay. I'm also
atrocities.
I'm also 25% English.
Many such cases.
Yeah. But yeah, this welcome to Side 1, Side B with Dave and Steve, but I think that's probably going to be left in. The leprechaun
Of course it is.
voice. Yeah, because why wouldn't it be? I'm Dave.
And I'm Steve.
And we have a guest with us today.
Hi, my name is Colby.
Hello. Colby was our guest last season when we did Changes 1 Bowie, so now we're doing Changes 2 Bowie.
And it's so good to be back.
And it's good to have you back. You are one of our harder guests to book.
That's ignominious. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I thought it'd be a funny thing to say. Yeah, this is the album he did as a kind of a follow-up compilation. It is a little different though. While Changes 1 Bowie was pretty strong and consistent by telling a story and leaving parts out, this one tries to tell a more complete story. There aren't any covers, but there's a ballad on here. There are some of the weirder tracks, and as a whole it doesn't work on the same level as a compilation. It's good. Like, I like all the songs on it, but it doesn't feel like as cohesive.
Since we did the Changes 1 Bowie episode, I've actually done a bit of a David Bowie binge, and I got all the way up to, I think, Diamond Dogs, so it was not where I kind of tapped out. And I think so far Diamond Dogs has been my favorite.
It's a good one. The one after it, Young Americans, is when he went more soul. Like, there's soul stuff on Diamond Dogs, but he went like all there with that.
I did like the cover album. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
It is good, yeah.
Yeah, it's just the only one in that era that's not great.
Yeah.
So it stands out a little bit as being less good.
His first self-titled album we'll have to do when we do the Oops All Bad album season. Because that was
the one with the laughing gnome.
Yeah, that was an interesting listen.
It's funny that he just Space Oddity is technically self-titled because he wanted people to forget about that first album.
Well, I listened to like the first song. I was like, "Oh, this isn't too bad." And then the next one, I think, was "Sell Me a Coat," and I'm like, "Oh,
oh." But yeah, this one came out after he had put out. Let's see, it ended with Station to Station for Changes 1. So on this, he'd put out 4 albums and stopped doing coke.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Big
congratulations.
changes.
Big changes. So this one, you had his whole Berlin trilogy, which was Low, Heroes, and Lodger. And then what I think, like, if this isn't my favorite of his albums, but for a long time it was considered like his last great one. And it is one of my favorite albums just to put on and listen to, which was Scary Monsters, which... amazing album.
Incredible.
It feels like it's a retrospective of his entire career, and that you can hear a little, like, you can hear a song and be like, oh, this one is paying tribute to Hunky Dory, and then you hear another one, it's like, oh, this one reminds me of Diamond Dogs, and then the next one, oh, this reminds me of one of the Berlin albums. And it's just kind of bringing everything together. And then he disappeared for a few years and came back as a monster pop star who, like, was selling out stadiums and making a ton of money because he was no longer under a contract where he owed most of his residuals to some other guy. Which is when he did the Let's Dance album. So yeah, like, Scary Monsters is in a way the end of an era and wraps everything up before he moved on to the next thing. And it's a great album, and he never matches its quality quite until the very end, in my opinion. Like, his last album is the first album he made after Scary Monsters that was better than Scary Monsters.
Oh, I really enjoyed his last album.
Yeah, Black Star.
Yeah, somebody played it for me, and I thought it was excellent.
Yeah, it's incredible. There's some really good ones in the 2000s zones, but I don't think they peak like you're talking Scary Monsters level.
Yeah, like Heathen.
Yes.
Heathen is my
great.
favorite of that era.
Yep.
And that one doesn't even have any like big hits on it.
Yeah, it's just a great listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think his biggest hit from that later era would probably be, which album was that off of? Earthling with I'm Afraid of Americans, which is a great album and a
Is
great
he in
song.
the Union Jack coat on that one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So garish.
Yeah.
He's trying to tap into like the Blur Oasis energy, I think.
With that picture, but then like the album
Yes.
sounds like
Yeah,
Nine
yeah,
Inch
yeah.
Nails.
Yes. Post Tin Machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, still a little bit of residual tin in there.
But yeah, like he was no longer on the cutting edge in a lot of that era. Like in that era too, like he was considered to be more influential from his earlier work and wasn't like pushing things forward anymore, I think was the general consensus. So like while he made good albums, still he wasn't making groundbreaking albums at that point until he got to Black Star, and that was, I've never heard anything like it, and I don't think anyone will ever quite make anything exactly like it either. So
Yeah, I agree.
Unless someone else does I've planned a surprise I'm Dead album in the future, certainly there will not be another PR cycle around a record like that ever again.
No, I could see Eno doing that, but
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
Eno, I think Eno was one of the handful of people that he told he was dying. But
Yeah, there was Tony Visconti gave an interview after his passing was announced, and I'm trying to remember if he said that he knew or that he suspected, but either way, it was so difficult to not speak about it, even with friends and acquaintances, let alone press or whatever.
yeah, the video for Lazarus, though, that was like, oh, he's dying when I saw that, and then yeah, this album though came out like right after Scary Monsters, and it has two of his biggest hits to date on it, which are Ashes to Ashes and Fashion, which were both off that record. They're the only representatives from that record. But I think they're, like, if you're going to put a compilation, I think they're good ones for a comp. My favorite song off that album, I think, is Up the Hill Backwards.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely so good. Ashes to Ashes has an amazing music video, which is probably more important in this era than previously. In that you're just on the cusp of Let's Dance would be a big MTV hit, right?
Yeah.
Ashes to Ashes, I assume, got airplay because it was a really interesting visual idea. He's in this sort of clown harlequin thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She trained as a mime.
Yes.
So, yeah. And, like, this one came out in 81, I think. Scary Monsters came out. I'm going to double check. Nice. Yep, this compilation came out in 81. Scary Monsters came out in 80. So, like, his career was on an upwards trajectory. He was bigger than he ever was. He'd recovered from accusations of becoming outdated because, like, by, like, 80, post-punk was starting to be a thing. And you couldn't hear a lot of him in the punk era. Like, you can definitely hear some of the rockier songs on Ziggy Stardust and Diamond Dogs, but for the most part, he kind of skipped punk and went straight to post-punk with his Berlin stuff. Mm-hmm. And he was trying to do krautrock mainly, and was working with a lot of krautrock type adjacent people, and was recording part of it in Berlin. But then, like, he ended up accidentally making 3 post-punk albums from like 77 to 79, and then 79, then you just had Joy Division and The Cure and Magazine and Susie and the Banshees, and all those bands just really starting to take off. Public Image Limited.
Oh, yeah. And if you think about some of his sort of 70s contemporaries, he certainly had more staying power than, Mark Bolan or Brian Ferry. All, guys that I love, and Eno transitions to sort of a full art freak and producer
Yeah.
persona, right?
Yeah, like the people from the glam era who did the best were Bowie and Eno.
Yeah.
Like, easily.
Right.
Yeah, Steve, what do you think of the cover? And you can compare it to the old cover because that's on the inside sleeve, if you want to remember.
Okay, so yeah. It's just a picture of Bowie. In comparison to the Changes 1 Bowie, where he looks much more clean cut and contemplative, he looks more 80s on the Changes 2 Bowie cover. His eye color doesn't match.
Well, that was just how it was.
Is that how his eyes are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He wasn't born like that, but he got that condition from getting in a fight in grade school over a girl.
Oh, crazy. That's very fitting.
Yeah, took a punch to the face and it dislocated the iris on one eye and changed the color.
Crazy. Did that affect his vision? Do you know?
It probably did. There's no way it didn't.
Yeah, that's crazy. Also, he's smoking a cigarette on the cover, so pro tobacco industry.
Yeah, because smoking is cool.
The sweet, smooth taste of Camel cigarette.
What's a good British brand? Yeah, we need a nice English pack.
Winston's? I'm pretty
That
sure it's
feels
Americans,
British.
but it sounds British. It's not like they can grow tobacco, so they're importing our tobacco anyway.
Yeah, hands off, Britain. We'll dump it in the sea again.
Yeah. 40% tariffs.
Oh, God.
Looking on the back, it is purple with a gold font and a bunch of song titles here. It doesn't tell you which side is side 1 and which side is side 2. I don't think.
It doesn't. The last one of side 1 is Ashes to Ashes.
Okay, so on this side 1 that we'll be listening to here in a moment, we got Aladdin Sane, Oh, You Pretty Things, Starman, 1984, and Ashes to Ashes.
Interesting thing about this mix of songs is Aladdin Sane was from Aladdin Sane, the last album he did as Ziggy. Then it jumps to Oh You Pretty Things, which was the first one he did with the backing band that he would eventually be Ziggy with. And then it jumps to Starman, which was the big omission from Changes 1, which was the only single off of Ziggy. And so the one that, like when we did that last episode about Changes 1, where we talked about how it was weird they didn't include it since it was the big hit single, but it made sense not to have it when you listen to the whole thing.
Yeah.
So they worked it on there. And then 1984 was one of the more soulsy songs on Diamond Dogs. And then Ashes to Ashes was his biggest hit at that time. Like in 1981, that was probably the song people were associating with him.
And then looking at the inner sleeve, there's a bunch of covers here for his older releases. So
This was a commercial for the other albums, which might be the most notable omission of all the tracks. Like, I'm not going to wait till after we get through side 2 to say this. This does not have Heroes on it,
Right.
which is arguably the best song he ever wrote. So it's
And it has a single edit.
yeah, it has a
Right.
single edit. I like the album version better because I like the slow build, and the single edit cuts out the best verse, which is you can be mean, and I'll drink all the time. But yeah, it's but yeah, Heroes is a bigger absence than Starman from the first one, honestly.
Yes.
But so yeah, it is like a lot of Ziggy era stuff, and then like the immediately post Ziggy era to kind of do the bare basis cover of the Soul era, and then right to his like current day. So it is telling a little bit of a story, even though it's out of order by doing Aladdin Sane to Hunky Dory.
yeah, I don't mind when I was younger, it kind of bothered me when tracks didn't go in chronological order on the greatest hits. And then as I became more of an artist, I realized, oh, that actually makes sense.
Yeah, Aladdin Sane is probably like the weirdest, most like avant-garde
Yeah.
it's almost like a jazz song on there. So it
Did that one come after Diamond Dogs?
before.
Okay, so I have heard that one. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that was off the album that had Gene Genie from the last one. It had Drive-In Saturday, Panic in Detroit. Great album, underrated album in his whole catalog. Like, I am more likely to listen to it than Ziggy Stardust at this point.
No ad for his first self-titled album in here.
Tragic.
There's nothing from Space Oddity though. Like, he, other than like the big single off that one, he basically pretended that album didn't exist.
I mean,
either.
it probably was out of print.
It probably
Right.
was.
It's advertised right there.
Yeah. But yeah, it was like, there's nothing from Space Oddity on here. There's not only Heroes itself is not only not on this album. No track from Heroes is, although there isn't a song like Heroes is a great album. There isn't a song better than the title track on it.
And it's tricky. Not that any of them were massive, like international smash singles, but what would you put on there?
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast or something. That's a little bit strange.
Yeah. My second favorite track on Heroes, other than the title track, would probably be V2 Schneider, which is mostly an instrumental.
So good. Yeah, that's him and kind of doing a cluster song.
Yeah.
Very, very Rodelius.
Yeah. The vocals on V2 Schneider is only a vocoder saying the title of the song. So, but yeah, my favorite album from this era only gets one song too, which is Sound and Vision from Low, which is on the other side. And granted, my favorite song on Low is Always Crashing the Same Car, which isn't exactly like it's a deep cut of side one, but it's a deep cut. That's not the kind of thing you put on a greatest hits compilation. But I also don't think Aladdin Sane, the song, is a song you would put on something like this.
No, not at all.
Like, I probably would have put Panic in Detroit if I was compiling this and wanted to do a song. Like,
It's a left field choice.
Yeah.
We'll hear it, but there's a crazy piano figure, I think from Roy Bittan of the E Street Band.
Yeah.
If memory serves.
But yeah, we will get that started and then give our thoughts while it's a little more fresh rather than just riffing off of memory.
And we're live.
And we are back. That was side one of Changes to Bowie. What did you guys think?
I think that if anyone claims that I incorrectly cited Roy Bittan as playing on that track earlier, no, I didn't.
Yeah, you were talking about...
I correctly said it was Mike Garson.
Yes.
As we all remember.
When you're talking about Roy Bittan, you're talking about Ashes to Ashes.
That's right.
As we all remember.
As we all
that
remember
was correct.
happening that I said that.
Yeah, this was like really listening to it as a side and seeing how these songs connected to each other and flowed in this order and like really trying to figure out how it fit. Like, I was able to piece it together more than I could. One thing I can say about at least this side of this album compared to Changes 1 is this one wasn't nearly as heavy on the rockers. Mm-hmm. Although, like, Changes 1 was trying to be all rockers, so, like, to dig from his earlier period. Like, there were rock songs that were left. Like, he could have done, like, Queen Bitch, or he could have done Panic in Detroit. But he had done a lot of the rockers from this era already, from, like, the Ziggy Stardust era, mainly.
As a side, I thought that everything flowed well into each other. Started with like two really piano-y style songs, but the style of piano was very different on each of one being more on the jazz side and one just being more on the general pretty piano playing side,
like singer-songwriter type piano.
Then it was kind of an acoustic based song, and then it just gets dancey and then weird and dancey. So
yeah.
I think the change from an acoustic song into like a dancey disco arena rock song was a bit of a surprise, but I didn't find it jarring. I think it worked.
There's the biggest leap, I think, on this whole compilation was right there.
Yeah. And then to kind of add to the way that you mentioned, like, this one doesn't have a whole lot of rockers on it. I think if you kind of combine both compilations together and see this as a side C rather than a side A of a completely different release, it kind of bridges both of the releases. I feel like I haven't listened to the next side yet, but
yeah, I can see that.
feels a lot less immediate, right? So, "Oh You Pretty Things," the drums don't enter until the chorus, I think. It's totally just piano. Are there strings in there? It's piano and voice.
It's piano and
then
voice.
the rhythm section drops in and makes it sort of a pop song. And then, I love how 1984 is just him trying to do like a Shaft thing, but in service of this pretty bizarre interpretation of a novel.
Yeah. A novel that he didn't have the rights to.
Who's to say what book inspired this song?
Not the estate that told us, God, no, don't do this.
It's funny that a song like Ashes to Ashes is kind of the... no, that's not quite true. Starman is the most pop song, I suppose. But Ashes to Ashes feels like the biggest, like, immediate shake your ass kind of tune, which is funny because it's a hits collection.
Yeah. Like, of a hits collection, there are 2 songs that were, like, big charters in their day on the side. 2 out of 5, which
Mixed
is
with
less
some
than half.
Strange material.
Yeah.
In the best way.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll go through track by track now. Aladdin Sane. This is a good song. I said that it seemed weird as an opener, but listening to it now and with everything else, it made sense to open with this. Like, to go from the weird jazzy piano thing to like the singer-songwriter piano thing kind of made sense, and it made them tie together. Part of me was wondering if this was because, like he and Mick Ronson didn't get along anymore. And although he was no longer working with Ronson by the first one, it was like, Mick had most of the last collection. Let's do 3 songs from his era where he's really not prominent. But
yeah. I think the smooth lead guitar playing made it work really well as an intro. But I do really like how the second half of the song just becomes very discordant. And then the atmospheric piano outro where it was kind of by itself, I thought was a really great way to tie everything up. So overall, this is a really cool song. And I like the emotional, jazzy, often out of tune, emotional playing on the piano.
And I do think like the really kind of like fast driving bass line during the piano freak out really helped hold it down too.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. I don't know if they left the outro intact as a sort of artistic choice or if it was just commercial laziness, but I liked it.
Yeah, I liked, and I did think it flowed really well into "Oh You Pretty Things," like really well. And I'm kind of almost wondering if they wanted to do "Oh You Pretty Things" but not open with it, and they're like, what's when compiling this, what's a good lead into "Oh You Pretty Things" from this general era, and they went with this.
If we ever commit jukebox terrorism again, like we did when we played Lou Reed's Metal Machine music at a bar, I think this one would be a good one to put on to confuse people.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, this was like Aladdin Sane, though, like the album that this is off of, which has the same title as the song, really is a weird album too. Like, it does have like some straightforward rockers, but it is also kind of like the whole Ziggy thing falling apart. So starting with the song from Aladdin Sane, like doing something from the Ziggy era, but when it's like on the verge of falling in is kind of a good way to signal this isn't going to be a very Ziggy heavy compilation because we already, they already did one.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that when I was listening to them during my run. That was the one that kind of stuck out the most, I felt like. And I don't mean that in a bad way, just they seem to really like let their hair down and be more experimental.
Yeah, it was like Bowie knowing it was going to be done, but the rest of the band not knowing it, and then just like him pushing it to the absolute limit it could go to because he was going to be done with it, so they didn't need to hold on to any ideas, I think. Next up, we have the pretty song, "Oh You Pretty Things." I don't know if this one counts as a ballad. When I said there's a ballad on this, I mean something on side 2, but it is ballad adjacent at the very least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I touched on it a second ago, but it's such a great patient arrangement to wait to drop the bass and drums in until each chorus, and then totally just remove them. I mean, it's very loud, soft, not in the Pixies sense, but just in the sense of like one guy in the band is playing, and then you have the full band in on the chorus. It's such a great trick. to
Yeah.
give it a lift each chorus.
It's funny you
Yeah.
mentioned the Pixies, though, because I did think it kind of had a grungy dynamic to it. So I thought that it probably influenced some grunge writers.
Oh, I did. Yeah. Like, one time I watched a Pixies documentary, and the oldest person they were interviewing, and it was Bowie. So,
One thing I noticed, the song overall was really happy in tone, but I noticed a couple times the lyrics kind of went into different territory that subverted expectations. Like, it sounded like he was like happily going about his day, and then he opened the window and a hand was coming at him. Like, so was it like an acid trip going bad?
it was probably an acid trip going bad. It was also like some of like references to like mysticism and Nietzsche, like the Homo
Yeah.
Superior stuff. When I was a teenager and I first listened to this, a friend of mine and I like to joke that it was about the X-Men because Homo Superior. that whole album was about the X-Men because, you know, you had Changes, and then not that long after you had this, then you had Queen Bitch, which was about the Cyclops, Jean Grey, Wolverine, love triangle. Clearly, none of these characters exist.
Everything is X-Men.
But everything is X-Men.
Everything is
yeah,
X-Men.
but no, like it's weird. Like it's very much like he was really like he was big into acid, but he was also big into like esoteric mysticism and Nietzsche at this time. So I don't feel comfortable saying if it's more acid or more the like what he was reading at the time either.
It's interesting. I know he was a reader, but Nietzsche isn't like, most readers are not reading philosophy of any kind, let
No.
alone translated. I don't even know what you classify him as.
Existentialism, German existentialism,
I have no idea.
nihilism.
Yeah.
Nietzsche
There
would-
we go.
yeah.
There we go. Nihilism. Yeah.
Nietzsche wouldn't want himself to be qualified as that, but
That's what we're calling him.
and that's
You know
what he
everyone.
did.
He's dead.
And that's why he killed himself because he lost hope because he wasn't as mentally strong to withstand the idea of nothingness as he thought he was.
One wonders which translation Bowie was reading.
Yeah.
We'll never know.
Well, he didn't actually kill himself, but he died of self-inflicted syphilitic insanity. So yeah,
Tomato, tomato.
Self-inflicted say that again.
self-inflicted syphilitic insanity.
Or CC for short.
That's the name of my next death metal album.
But yeah, these were the 3 songs with the Spiders. So say goodbye to Mick Ronson, Trevor Boulder, and Mark Woodmansey.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
We'll play you out with some jazz piano.
Yes, played by someone else. With Bowie on sax. But yeah, this one also wasn't like a ton of sax in this either, which was also notable from this period. Like there was like sax during the Aladdin Sane piano freak out, but like a lot of what made this era stand out isn't really in I guess we need to talk about Starman still, but yeah, wasn't really in this era. Like this is a different side of this particular era
right.
that he's covering. But yeah. And then yeah, we will now also like properly do our send off to the Spiders, Mick, Trevor, and Mark by talking about Starman. That is not really a string section, that is a mellotron.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's also a mellotron in 1984. So
That's great.
That's why it also kind of sounded like it was a slightly different audio quality from the rest of the band, if you really want to pick at it. But yeah, that's Mick on the mellotron. So I guess this is where he stands out the most, is not on this particular grouping of songs, not as the guitar player, but as the mellotron player on one of the songs.
Another patient intro where it's got this sort of loose acoustic strumming and the la-do-dos, and then coming in with that sweet fill.
Yeah.
All these tunes, even the pop hits like Starman, have such a non-immediate feeling,
Yeah. The first 3 songs are incredibly chill compared to everything.
King Genie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like everything except maybe like the first couple songs on the first one. Like,
Exactly.
yeah, this is more like a laid back hanging type of side of music than either of the sides of Changes One, which I thought was pretty interesting.
I like the really driving dominant bass in this one. I felt like the songwriting on this song probably really influenced like Axl Rose during like the Use Your Illusion era of Guns N' Roses, because I noticed a lot of like similar dynamics in like the vocals and like the way the instruments were playing, except Axl took all those and drove it up to like 11.
Yeah. Wasn't November Rain the most expensive music video ever made? Something like that.
I think so.
Worth every penny.
Yeah. This aircraft carrier isn't going to rent itself. Yeah, like Starman, that was his big hit from the Ziggy Stardust, and it was probably his biggest hit since Space Oddity, because until Ziggy came out, he was in danger of becoming a one-hit wonder. So this is the big song that we were talking about, that it was weird that they left off the last one, and here it is, and it fits the vibe of what this side of music was going for more. Like
That's right.
I'm glad they held off until this one to put it on a compilation.
This one makes more sense as a way to get tweens in England to enjoy a radio song more than the really heavy stuff on Ziggy Stardust, right?
Yeah, and it was also kind of like tacked on because the label wanted something a little more radio friendly on the album, so it was kind of thrown in there, kind of put in the middle, and kind of used to introduce the character of Ziggy in a standalone way, so it doesn't like even fit in the flow of like the story that Ziggy Stardust is trying to tell. Even
I do love the octave guitar, tape flange and piano thing before each chorus. That's one of my favorite little arrangement things
that is
in
really
the whole
cool
discography.
So what we're saying is this is the pinball wizard to Ziggy's Tommy.
Yes.
Yeah. And then now we have the biggest left turn on the album with 1984. The main thing they have in common is the Mellotron strings.
Yeah, a sudden shift to dancey disco arena rock, and I really liked it.
Yeah,
I thought it was interesting that a really like fun sounding song was used to tell the story of Winston Smith in 1984 being interrogated by the governments.
Yeah,
and might be my favorite on this side.
I just love that he's doing sort of an Isaac Hayes song in the middle of. He's still kind of doing glam tunes, right? The other singles from Diamond Dogs are real rockers.
Yeah.
As we know from Changes One, and this one is, it's Shaft about 1984. It's really a big swing that could have been terrible.
Who's the private black dick who's a sex machine to all the chicks? Big Brother.
And he's watching you, baby.
Yeah.
I also like how it faded into the next song. I thought that was executed really well.
Yeah, like that discordant like piano tape thing going right into the really kind of like glassy synths of Ashes to Ashes was like, it made sense. Like all the song transitions kind of made sense, even with the bit of the left turn from Starman to 1984. Like listening to it as a whole side of music, it clicked.
On the Mount Rushmore of George Orwell's 1984 rock songs, this song is probably like George Washington.
Yeah.
There's a Me Without You song that's probably like Jefferson.
Yeah.
Somebody's, I don't know. I'm trying to generate more 1984 songs. They're out there. I know they are.
Rage Against the Machine is Abraham Lincoln.
Yep. Yeah. There we go. And a fourth one to be named later.
Oingo Boingo.
There we go.
Yeah.
Didn't Van Halen have one?
Yeah, they did.
Everybody. Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Everybody has.
Those highly literate lads in Van Halen.
Yeah. Then Ashes to Ashes is my favorite song on this side. It's one of my favorite Bowie songs in general too, though. He had a huge backing band at this point, but like the consistent ones who had been with him, well, two of them had been with him since Young Americans, but three of them had been with him since Station to Station. So since like 75, 76 was Carlos Alomar on guitar, George Murray on bass, and Dennis Davis on drums. like, and this is just a band that he gelled really well with, and then like all the guest synthesizer players and lead guitar players that he brought in this era, which were some huge ones. Like, this wasn't on this album, but on like the previous 3 albums, like Brian Eno wasn't the producer, he was the synth player.
Right.
Like during this time, he was also working a lot with Adrian Belew, working a lot with Robert Fripp.
Yep.
While they were both in Crimson at the same time at this point, I think. Or no, it would be they joined, like, Belew joined Crimson shortly after this, because it was after he was done touring with Talking Heads. But yeah, this was like huge, very like cool and instrumental, influential, there we go, musicians who were doing a lot of cool stuff in like the prog art rock space, but also working a lot with like post-punk and new wave bands.
And of course, Roy Battan, who I correctly identified as playing
Roy
on Ashes
Battan.
to Ashes,
Yes.
not a different track.
Yes. Yeah, this was like a huge era for him, and when he kind of validated himself by quitting Coke and making really experimental music that then all the cool young bands started playing like the next year. Because this was like the last point where he was really sensing what was in the water in advance and not more following trends.
I liked that it was still pretty dancey, but it was a lot more on the weird side. It had some really like weird wobbly synth patches that I liked, and overall, it was a really good way to end the side.
Yeah.
Probably my second favorite on this side.
Yeah, the like the synth stuff was the kind of stuff Peter Gabriel would be doing just a little later, but then the bass was funky.
Yep. Lyrically, I think this is one of his best songs, full stop, too, which is funny because it's sort of, I mean, the conceit is sort of a sequel to his own song, which again, a thing that could be really lame and is awesome, actually.
I usually don't like it when bands do sequels to their own songs, but bringing back the Major Tom character who is lost in space and calling him a junkie to talk about his own struggles with substance abuse is really kind of cool.
Yeah, even just saying that, it sounds
cheesier than it is.
Yeah, and then you hear it and you feel it, and it really does pack emotional depth. It's really clever.
And I really like the ending when he's kind of repeating the chant. My mama
like
said,
he's floating away.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Get things done. You better not mess with Major Tom. And then like a synth lead line comes in that, you know, like later would be like, it's a similar sound to what was used in like a lot of 90s hip hop for the synth solos.
Yeah.
The high-pitched Moog.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
Nothing but a G thing. Yeah. This is a really strong side of music. It does not tell the same kind of story that Changes One does, but I feel like it does tell a different story.
Agreed. Yeah, it embraces the sort of fuzzy bits, right? So I've said it's less immediate. I think that's true. But also the sort of outliers, right? So Diamond Dogs, I know that it isn't, but I still think of it as a glam rock record. Well, 1984 is the furthest thing from a glam rock tune, but it's on Diamond Dogs, right? Oh, You Pretty Things fits Hunky Dory, but even as a accessible pop song, it's not as obvious, not as immediate as Changes or indeed Queen Bitch. All these tunes are a little skewed, just like 5 degrees over, and you're like,
Yeah, like Changes 1 is like the stomping rockers, and Changes 2 is like the kind of askew art pop.
Mm-hmm.
Probably trying to target 2 different audiences.
Probably. Because like the askew art pop was largely what the Berlin trilogy, Station to Station, and Scary Monsters all were.
Yeah, and for Joe record buyer in, Peoria, Illinois, maybe he doesn't want to listen to Warszava, but he wants to listen to, the slightly skewed pop tunes of Changes too, right?
Yeah. This is for, hey, do you like Goodbye Stranger by Supertramp, but you want something a little darker and weirder? But in the same universe of songs, you get this side of Bowie.
Definitely a lot of fantastic art rock.
Restless.
Of varying genres.
Yeah, and I think this is showing the sides of Bowie that did influence bands like Genesis.
Yes.
Yeah. Which were also on the rise at this point. And and their former lead singer Peter Gabriel. And so I think this was also kind of anticipating what kind of music would be popular and influential in the 80s. So his last little act of anticipating before being more of a trend follower than a trendsetter.
Yeah.
But yeah, next side there are rockers. It's still not as heavy leaning on them as the first album, but we have Sound and Vision, which is, this might be my favorite song on the record, but it's off of my favorite record from this era, so maybe I'm biased. It also has backing vocals from two of my favorite non-Bowie musicians, which we'll get into when we get into it. And then we have Fashion, which is a really fun dancey song with and it's Robert Fripp's one appearance, even though he worked with him a lot in this era. And then we have Wild as the Wind, which is off of Station to Station and is the ballad. John, I'm Only Dancing Again. So we have another sequel song on here. And then we have, closing it out, DJ, which is a good choice for a closer, and we will talk about that after we listen to it. But yeah, this is a higher energy side. This one, Wild as the Wind, is the only one I would call as chill as anything on the first side. And it's also the slowest on the record, being the only ballad. So we'll get into that soon. Oh, hi diddle, hi diddle, hi diddle. And we are back from side B of Changes to Bowie. Fellas, what did you think?
I think I liked the first side a little bit more, but that's not saying this is a bad side by any means. And it had some groovy songs to start out, and then it got like atmospheric and then funky again, and then ended with a cool rock swagger. And I thought it flowed reasonably well.
Yeah, I think the only tune here that's like a creative misstep is the John I'm Only Dancing revisited thing.
Yeah.
Great performances. Actually, this whole side has some of my favorite Bowie vocal performances, just full stop. But that one really drags for me as a creative idea.
Oh yeah, I agree, and we'll get into that when we go track by track. But that one is the only real miss for me on this side. But that also does make the first side stronger, in my opinion, because it doesn't have a nearly 7-minute misfire. But yeah, this era is all though like with his current sound as opposed to building into his current sound, which I think is pretty interesting, even though there's only one song that would have been off of his newest album at this point. This was all like putting him in where he was in the moment, which I think is pretty interesting. And still, it wasn't his biggest hit from the era, but it doesn't have his most iconic song, what people in hindsight decided was the best song from the era on it, which is also interesting. What if they had put Heroes instead of John I'm Only Dancing on here?
It seems so obvious.
Yeah.
You know? Why not?
Yeah, why not?
I don't get it.
And they could have done like the long full-length album version, the better version, with how long John I'm Only Dancing.
You could easily start or finish the side with Heroes.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah, you might have to change the order a little bit. Maybe I'd almost say finish.
Yeah.
But yeah, although I do like DJ as a finisher.
Yeah, I think DJ worked as a finisher for sure.
Yeah. But we kick things off with Sound and Vision, which is my favorite song on the whole album, but that's because I'm biased, and that's off of my favorite album Bowie ever did, which is Low. That one was the first of his Berlin trilogy, where he was trying to kick cocaine and getting really into krautrock, so bands like Can and Neu and Cluster. And he was working with Brian Eno and Iggy Pop. He did kind of a dry run for his whole krautrock experimentation thing by producing and writing the music and playing in the backing band for Iggy Pop's best solo record, The Idiot. And going into here, this was him working with some of the same musicians from The Idiot, including Iggy on backing vocals. Like the backing vocals in this are, you notice there's like two Bowies, but one sounds like it's a chorus of people with Bowie. The backing vocals are the layered vocals of Bowie, Iggy Pop, and Brian Eno.
Nice. The triple threat.
The triple threat. And then, like that descending synth line is very very
Right.
like very minimalistic musically, but like very layered sonically. Like he put a lot of work into figuring out exactly how to get the timbre for it. And
Yeah, Sound and Vision is one of my very favorites. I love that it is short, despite having a very interesting groove that I could listen to it for basically ever.
And it's a short,
but it fades out, I think, which I love when people mix a track, leaving me wanting more.
Yeah.
I could listen to a 30-minute version of this song.
Yeah, and it
without blinking.
And it has like a lot of little movements to it too, and it takes a long time for the vocals to come in.
Long time.
And then even when they first come in, it's just a lot of
Yeah. This also is he does this on many, many vocal performances, but this is sort of the most dramatic version of it, when he hangs on an N or an M at the end of a syllable, and this one is vision, and he just sits there on N for so long. I'm like, keep going.
And like Low as a record, the first side of the record is like pretty much all songs like this, like short, these like really short, punchy, but sonically complex songs. And then the second side is like long, moody instrumentals.
Yeah. It's catchy, but it's not obvious.
Yeah. And it's my favorite record for that reason, and that you get like a lot of like really complicated but short, punchy, high energy songs, and then you get to stew on some foreboding bad mood music for a while.
For me, the most noticeable thing about it was the really groovy bass line. I was standing up while we were listening to this one, and I was just kind of grooving around to it. So I really liked how groovy it was.
Yeah, and a lot of my current bands draw a lot from this era of Bowie. Like this is like the kind of aggressive, a little bit punky approach to krautrock is what you get from bands like Viagra Boys and The Idols. Like this is exactly the genesis of a lot of new music I like today. So
I really love the sort of white noise that sounds like a long decay snare that comes right before the actual snare drum.
Nice.
And then also however they treat the snare on this whole album, but particular on Sound and Vision, is just phenomenal. It sounds way deep, and it's got this weird sort of it's delay, but it's short, and it's really hard to describe. But when you hear it, it's exactly that thing.
I've heard someone said, I haven't confirmed it, but I heard someone said that no one's been able to replicate whatever synth treatment Eno was doing on the snare for this whole album.
So cool,
and that he's going to go to his grave with it, basically. So yeah.
I mean, like in the arrangement sense, the little that they're doing from the synth before that's what you would do with like a tambourine or like a little cymbal if you were using real instruments in the 60s, and they just use that arrangement idea with then contemporary tech, and it totally transforms how it functions in the song.
Yeah, I like it that while he was trying to quit cocaine, he was doing all of this too.
Right. I need a hyperfixation to get your mind off the cravings,
Yeah. Then next up we have Fashion, which is when I used to DJ dance parties, like in my 20s, this was the Bowie song I would usually turn to.
This was probably my favorite on this side. Just like the previous song, it had a really groovy bass line, but what really stuck out to this one, to my ears, was the cool lead guitar playing on it.
So cool.
I think really weaved in and out of the song in a really well-constructed way. Yeah, I really like this song.
By the best prog rock guitar player, Robert Fripp.
Yeah.
I like it that Fripp worked with pop acts and punk acts and new wave acts and post-punk acts, and was able to strip his approach down to be more minimalistic if he needed to, just like how closely he's worked with Brian Eno over the years. Like he's great. He can do all kinds of things. This one was like the closest thing to like the stomping rocker energy of the Changes 1 too, and it was like a real nice shot of adrenaline to the whole thing. Bowie doesn't usually get political, but this is a political song. Like it's comparing the world of like cheap and easy fashion to fascism, basically.
Yeah.
The turn to the left and then the scream right. It's really obvious if you watch the music video too, because it slowly becomes like it starts as a fashion show and it slowly becomes like a bread line.
Yeah, we talked about during the Viagra Boys episode how they had a song called Sports, and how like I thought that was a very appropriate title for a political song, because a lot of people treat politics like sports, and this song kind of hit in the same way as a lot of people treat politics like fashion. So
yeah, it's an outfit you can try on, not life and death. Yeah. But it's critiquing that whole idea. It's also funny that he did such an obvious anti-fashion song or fascism song after accidentally helping to inspire Rock Against Racism by giving an interview where he called Hitler the first rock star when he was strung out on cocaine. But yeah,
maybe this was his apology.
It kind of was, I think. And it's also like leading into Wild as the Wind, and we'll get into it a little more later. Like Wild as the Wind, ignore me when I said there was no covers on this. That's the one cover, but that's also the one ballad too. But that was also the one song from his Thin White Duke when he was praising Hitler era, and that was a soul song that was also covered by Nina Simone. So like the Thin White Duke has no voice on this, and the only one song with him is right after an anti-fascist song that was notably covered by a very politically active black singer. So I feel like there's a statement in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, fashion, fun song. I like songs that you can both shake your fist and shake your ass to.
Yes.
Like with Gang of Four. Yeah. And this should be pretty contemporary to Gang of Four too, and it's sitting in kind of like the same genre space too. It's not as stripped back and minimalistic, but it's in the roughly the same territory. And ready to move on to Wild as the Wind?
Yeah.
Okay, the ballad and the cover.
It was really atmospheric, a pretty abrupt shift from the previous two songs. I felt like it seemed like the production might have been a little cleaner. And overall, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I like how pleading and desperate the vocals sound. I do like how it, like, even though it keeps the same energy throughout, how it layers on, like, noise as it feels like they're not, like, lyrically it's about, wanting to hold on to someone through turmoil. And then at the end, you can almost feel like it's the wind building, tearing them apart. It's a really cool song. It was the closer for the Station to Station album.
Yeah, it's interesting. Changes 1 had Golden Years on it? Yep. So they could have thrown TVC 1.5 on here.
Which is about a sex robot.
It is. And musically it's more immediate, right? This one's for the freaks. This one's for the true heads, I think.
Yeah.
I said that this has a lot of my favorite vocal performances. This might be my favorite, full stop. Bowie just like reminding you that he's actually like a bravado singer.
Yeah. He can do the crooning really well, as well as like the rock shout. And this one, he's able to bring it both together a lot. And like, yeah, the whole arrangement is great. Everyone is doing exactly what they need to do. It's all just a beautiful song, a haunting song, a heartbreaking song. Mm-hmm. And it's one of the longer songs on the record, and it earns its whole runtime. Like, one of my big critiques of this album is how often it will use the single release and therefore like shortened songs that should be longer, like Ashes to Ashes and Fashion. Like, Sound and Vision was already a short song and it's perfect at its length because that's how it was written to be heard. But like, just to hear, like, listening to Fashion and Ashes to Ashes, I almost had like, oh, that's it. seems abrupt, but like this really sits with the mood and stays with it. And
I wonder if they felt compelled to have a song from Station to Station on here, because it's a record of almost nothing but very long songs. It's a 6-track album. And all the songs are 6 to 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, except for Golden Years, which was meant to be the single, which was like 4, which is still on the long end for a single. So yeah, I think this is a good choice from that record too, and it's placed like late into the whole listen really fits well.
It's fun to hear it not as a closer too.
Yeah,
because in my mind it's so cemented as sort of the end of something, right?
Yeah, and that it's also interesting that the only representation of the Thin White Duke is the closing statement of the Thin White Duke. Like, I suppose they couldn't have put the title track from Station to Station because it is 10 minutes long, and 5 of those are build up. But yeah. Yeah, this was, so far, really great and strong side of music, and then we get to track 4. Oh. John, I'm Only Dancing Again. Weakest song on the record, in my opinion.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I just put that it was funky, so I didn't have much to say about it.
One of my notes is he was friends with John Lennon at this point, so I don't even know why he revisited this idea. But like John, I'm Only Dancing was allegedly, no one has really actually confirmed this, but about John Lennon saying something homophobic about the Ziggy Stardust era, and then he made friends with John later with the Young Americans era, and this was a non-album single from around the time of Young Americans, and I understand why he put it here to some degree too, because he had the first one on the first compilation, and both of them are non-album singles, so it's like, here's a place on a record so people can have a complete collection if they want without tracking down an imported 45. But it's just not very good. It's an idea that didn't need to be revisited.
Exactly.
The musicians are doing a good job. I like the part when it's just getting to the instrumental freak out at the end with the dancing woo woo woo, and then just him kind of shouting nonsense and doing kind of a James Brown impression.
He does a passable James Brown. Yeah. Everyone's killing it. It's just a dull experiment.
Yeah, it wasn't an idea worth revisiting. The original song was good. This was like whatever.
In theory, it could be interesting because John, I'm Only Dancing in the glam rock era is sort of like coyly queer nodding. It's not like it's not explicit, but it's like, hey y'all, check this out.
I'm only dancing.
And, soul disco feels like an appropriate way to revisit that. It's just boring to me.
Yeah.
And
then it just keeps going and going, and even though the best part is near the end, it's just. By then, it's kind of worn out its welcome, unfortunately.
Yeah, for a disco edit, But, something about this falls flat for me.
Yeah. But I do feel it redeems itself with the closing track.
Oh, yes.
DJ, which is off the Lodger album, which is the third of the Berlin era. This is when they had Adrian Belew as the lead guitar player. Shortly before, grabbed him to play with Talking Heads for Remain in Light, and then the following tour with that. So this is a great, art rock, prog rock guitarist who is used to working with new wave and punk type acts, just really showing off his chops. This one is also kind of funky, but it has the krautrock style, walls of feedback and noise underneath it that you hadn't sound envisioned. So it's a good way to kind of tie it back to that. The kind of guitar and tape feedback loops that sound like a train going through a tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
It's reminded me of it was like a dance song with with a can sound experiment underneath it, which I love.
Yeah, I noticed the production on this one was a bit more raw compared to the other songs on the side. But besides that, it had a really cool swagger to it. To me, felt like the most rocking song on this whole compilation. And I think the pickup and energy was a good way to end the compilation.
Yeah, and then having a song, I Am the DJ, I Am What I Play, being about, how music subsumes your own persona, I think was an interesting choice.
Mm-hmm.
Especially...
what's the line in here? I've got believers.
Yeah.
I love how snide that is. You know, even DJs who are interesting and tasteful, it's absurd that like John Peel has a following. He's a guy on the radio.
Yeah.
Why do we care what John Peel says?
Yeah.
Again, good taste, interesting guy, but like it's a little stupid.
Yeah. Which made it great too. And then like the Lodger album is interesting. The first side is all songs about travel, and most of them are pretty good, but like the concept of having them all being all about travel starts to wear out its welcome by the time you get to the end of the first side. Then you flip it over and you get DJ, and following that just a bunch of songs about personal turmoil. Like the song after that is called Boys Keep Swinging.
Great song.
And it's one of Bowie's best songs ever.
God. That could have been on here.
Yeah, like Boys Keep Swinging. Like on there's like Boys Keep Swinging, Look Back in Anger. Yeah, it's an amazing set of songs. Like it's one of those albums where the second side is better than the first, and it's just like all the angst Bowie has of getting older and being in and out of what's considered good taste, and like moving back and forth between the two, and it's fantastic album, which I highly recommend. Like I like the entire Berlin trilogy, and it's so weird that Heroes isn't represented on this compilation at all.
It's odd. If it's possible for a pre-Let's Dance Bowie album to be underrated, Lodger still is, which is funny.
Yeah.
So good. Such a great record.
Yeah. Like, you know that old AV Club piece that talks about how the way to measure a great band is if they can put out 5 great records in a row?
Yeah, the Steve and Haydn thing.
Yeah, which I disagree with in the end, but it's a fun thought experiment.
It's a fun experiment.
I think Bowie's 5 in a row that make him a great artist are Station to Station, Low, Heroes, Lodger, Scary Monsters. Yeah. I think that's the best. Even without that thought experiment, that's the best run of 5 albums any artist has ever had.
It's so good.
And they're all so different from each other, even though 3 of them are considered a thematically connected trilogy.
I love on DJ when he does that big vocal flip, Believe in Me. His voice goes super ragged and breathy.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds so rich.
And then like how the music kind of cuts out a little bit after it. Yeah, it's very good.
And there's this little moment of counterpoint that they do in the choruses where the bass goes do 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 and the vocals are going up. I love that.
Yeah. I think Adrian Belew too is the lead guitarist who gelled best with that backing band I talked about. And there are a lot of great lead guitarists who worked with him, like Earl Slick and Fripp. But I think like just as a lead guitarist who fit in with what the rest of them were doing, Belew was just like gelled with them the best, and I think that's probably why he was the one they toured with.
Yeah. If you want to see Adrian Belew in some big pants, watch live footage from late 70s to the 80s.
Either
Talking Heads, Bowie, whatever.
Yeah.
He'll be in some large trousers if you're into that kind of thing.
Large trousers and like a Hawaiian shirt. Yeah.
Right now I'm taking a look at like other David Bowie compilations, and it looks like the first 2 were put out like right when he was at the prime of his career, but it was like compilations of his like first album and second album.
It was probably the old label trying to make money off of his name.
100%.
Yeah.
Hey, did you know about these?
You know about these albums that he never plays any songs off of anymore?
I noticed they put out a best of Bowie compilation in between the 2 Changes 1 and Changes 2. That must be a cynical record company cash grab.
It could be, because it's not one of the ones people talk about, and people talk about these 2. So
it seems a little slapdash just eyeballing the track list.
Yeah.
People still say slapdash?
They do,
now.
yeah.
Slapdash.
They should. It is some of the same songs off of Changes 1.
Yeah.
Also.
He looks very disappointed on the cover of this. Like,
yeah.
Don't buy this compilation.
I do love that just by virtue of going from a monochrome photo to a color photo, this one feels more 80s, and I think they cropped it so that his face is slightly decentered. Because on Changes 1, he's right in the center, and that has that old-timey feel. I think you said it. He looked like a 20s film star, which is right on. And then here, his hair is like not dissimilar.
Yeah.
He's wearing a jacket, but it feels very, very 80s.
Yeah. This was the era when he was wearing a jacket a lot on stage. That was his thing. He's like, I am getting older, so I'm just going to wear a jacket. He wasn't that old. We're older than he was then. But, you know, at that time, the idea...
rock stars, yeah.
The idea a 30-year-old rock star was considered weird. Now it's not. But, yeah. And then, there's the Changes Bowie tape thing from, like, the 90s. That has both of these records and a few others thrown on, like Heroes, which...
And Fame 90 Remix.
Yep, and Fame
baby.
90 Remix, which is bad.
The cover of it looks like something that you'd throw together in Photoshop real quick.
Or Canva. This looks more like Canva than Photoshop, and I mean that is an insult.
This is the free... Yeah.
Was that the tape that you brought in last time?
Last time, yeah.
Yeah. Next season, maybe.
How many iterations of Changes Bowie can we do?
Well, there's only 3.
Can we squeeze this out more? Is there a Changes 6 Bowie we can put together?
That's all Tin Machine songs.
I will not be here for that.
Yeah.
Nothing to say on that.
I don't even know enough about Tin Machine to talk about them the way I can talk about this. So
there's Rare Stone Bowie?
Rarest one.
Bowie. That's amazing. When did that get released?
That was 95.
Okay.
All the Young Dudes. Okay, good song. Queen Bitch. We've talked about that multiple times.
Yeah, it's funny the number of times we've talked about it without just directly saying they should have put that on here.
Yeah.
But I think they probably should have just put it on.
Yeah.
Looks like these are all live.
Interesting.
Huh.
So it's it's a live compilation. This counts in the Changes Bowie.
Yeah, it's one word. It's got the word one in it.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're putting it in there.
Yeah.
So we'll have to do that one sometime.
Track down a copy. But yeah, this was like, I still will stand by my statement that Changes One Bowie is one of the greatest like compilations because of the way it chooses to tell a story and how it sticks to that. This one does not stick to a story the same way. This one has one track, which is a stinker. Not a complete stinker, but a disappointment, and is also the longest track on the whole record, unfortunately. So, like, this one isn't quite as strong as the first one, but it still is a strong and compelling case for why he was important for an artist at that time. And it does also use the track order, especially on the first side, to tell a story and to really, like, place him in what music was at that time and make the argument why he mattered for it. So this was a slightly less successful version of the same idea, but it was still successful as a whole.
Yep. If you see it at the record store and it's a reasonable price, you should probably pick it up.
It's a great listen. It doesn't rise above the status of compiling some great Bowie songs, but at the same time, if you've compiled some great Bowie songs, great listen.
And I would recommend listening to all the records that came out in the era. Yeah. And
Changes One, I will just put on.
Yeah.
This recommends, like, every time I hear something on this, I'm like, I'm just going to go grab Let Insane real quick.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Or like listening to the, like, you know, like you can just listen to Low.
Yeah.
Yeah. Low has a bunch of great rockers on one side and then a bunch of mood pieces on the other, and it's a pretty short album as a result.
Which instrumental from Lower Heroes would you fuck with listeners by putting on this compilation?
Warsaw's.
Hope you like this.
Yeah. Or if I wanted something a little more accessible, V2 Schneider.
One of the best songs.
Yeah, especially since this record has nothing from Heroes, which I would want to put Heroes on, but if I couldn't put Heroes on,
what's
V2
the
Schneider.
one with, like, I don't know if it's synthesized or actually recorded, but it's got that Koto sound. Is it just called Kyoto or something? Garden, whatever it is.
Yeah,
great song.
Yeah. Yeah, Art Decade is another great one. Subterraneans, the last song of Low. One of my old stage names was Dave Subterranean after that song.
That's great.
Yeah. But yeah, the first one is a standalone record in its own right. This one is an advertisement to listen to the records that the songs come from more. Both are good, but if you absolutely can only have one, get Changes 1. And if you are interested in the music of Bowie, check out, and you have the time, check out everything from Man Who Sold from Man Who Sold the World all the way through Scary Monsters. Yeah. And you might as well grab Let's Dance. I say it's not as good as what came before it, but it still has Cat People. It still has it still has Modern Love. It's just a little bit more corporate and shiny than the rest of his stuff. And it's not anticipating what's coming. That's when he's following trends. But if you're not a music history nerd like me, you might not even notice or care about that. So, well, this has been Side 1, Side B. I'm Dave.
I'm Steve.
I'm Colby. It's been a pleasure.
And catch you on the flip side.
Side 1, Side B with Dave and Steve is a Floof Goof Studios production. You can find us on Instagram at KillRockMusicSWS and Dave_Diction. You can find us on Bluesky at KillRockMusic and Beastmaster General. Check out our musical projects, The Alliterates and Lucid Fugue, on all major streaming platforms, and links to each at my website, killrockmusic.com. That's KILRAVOCK music.com. This also includes my past projects, Megaton and Valley of Shadows, and my current solo project, Kill Rock. You can also find Dave's past project, Gong Farmer, at GONGFERMOUR.bandcamp.com. Thanks.
Everyone we worked with is dead.
Really ripped.
Yeah.
I need to change my pants.
Check.
Check.
Leonard Bernstein.
I hate it so much I skipped the whole Destroyer.
Allow me to play you out.
Dirty Dave just pooped his pants.
Yes, indeed.
Perfect hooker murdering song.
Kick out the jazz, motherfucker! Are you ready?
Steve's got some cheese.
Get my podcast voice ready to go.
Jaw Wobble. What a name.
I'm Ivan Moody, and I'm having a psychotic break.
Testicules.
That is a fun fact.
There's a jazz hole.
What do you mean the song is called Sweet Pea?
Now that we're done with Steve's Rorschach test, let's talk about the album.
For fuck's sake.
That's not very Zizian of you guys. It's a professional operation over here.
This is Fantasia for people who had to repeat the 9th grade.
Heavy metal.
Yeah, hands off, Britain. We'll dump it in the sea again.